Good afternoon, it's Dave at ATI Watch Reviews. Please smash that like button and please hit that subscribe button for more awesome watch content. Little wristwatch check. I've got one of my all-time favourite homages, the PD-1782 Sport chronograph. An absolutely unbelievable value homage that you can pick up on AliExpress for a super cheap price. Sapphire crystal, ceramic bezel, mecha quartz movement. I love it with a flip-lock clasp. But today's video is a very interesting and quite new release this year from Pagani Design, the AliExpress Chinese watch manufacturer, who do some absolutely unbelievable value watches. And I'm hoping that this is another one, and I can confirm that it is. This is the PD-1782. It's a mecha quartz movement, so you get super good quartz accuracy with a hybrid mechanical functionality for the chronograph functionality. It's 100 meter water resist, retro 1970s style chronograph with highly polished bezel, stainless steel bezel with super coarse flanks and watch case polishing, with fully solid stainless steel bracelet, butterfly clasp with half links if you want to use them, with a stainless steel caseback with laser etching. Now, it also has a sapphire domed crystal. Check out that finishing, by the way, honestly. And I picked this up in the recent sale on AliExpress for a super cheap price, but you can pick it up below 100 GBP. There is an affiliate link down below if you want to pick it up, make a bit of commission at no extra cost to you. Let's get straight into it. Let's get straight into the sizing. Well, one of the main characteristics of this watch that is going to be a big, two thumbs up from most people, most watch collectors on YouTube at least, that seem to like smaller watches. Not me, but I do actually like this watch. Now that I've been wearing it, I do actually like the sizing of this watch. Now, I've comprehensively measured it prior to this video, and I can confirm that it is around 12.8 mil thick to the top of the dome crystal. Its lug to lug, this is the crucial one really, is only 45.7 mil. So it's it's less than 46 millimeters lug to lug, which makes the watch feel super small really. And also they're advertising it, Pagani advertising it as 39 mil, and they're measuring the bezel. Now, when I measure, you see the bezel, it stops there and stops there. So it's actually not proud of. It's actually, smaller than the case. It's not proud of the case. Okay, so that is actually on my unit 38.5. So the watch, if you measure that element there, it's 38.5 mil. If you measure the case, but not the crowns and the pushers, the case is 40 mil. The overall diameter is about 42.7. So from the edge of the case to the crown, it's about 42.7. And another little dimension for you, another interesting one, because it's got female end links, which is another winner, in my opinion. This end link to end link measurement is about 47.8. Now, on most watches that I wear, the end link to end link is going to be between 50 and 53, something like that. So this watch, again, because the lug to lug small, the end to end link small, the diameter is small. This wears, in my opinion, probably like a 38.5 mil watch. Now, to be fair to Pagani, they're only advertising it as a 39 mil. Okay, so to be fair to them, it wears true to what they're actually suggesting. It wears small. It wears slightly smaller than that. It's a small watch, but it does have quite a chunky supporting case to some degree. Now it is curved, but the sizing is on the smaller side. Now, if you've got big wrists like me, and I'm going to show you a few wrist shots later, for me personally, as my personal taste, I would prefer it to be probably 42mm diameter. A couple of mil or a millimetre bigger, but that's just my taste. Most people on YouTube, it seems, and in general on watch collecting, prefer them to be a bit smaller. So this watch, if you've got 6-inch wrists, 6.5, this is probably perfect sizing for you. If you've got 7 to 8-inch wrists like me, it's going to be wear on a slightly smaller side. But as you'll find out in a bit as I talk about the bracelet and stuff, it's a super comfortable design. So, and also I've weighed the watch, and it comes to around 136 to 137 grams. Now, so very similar to this one, very similar to the weight for this one, but this one is obviously a lot, because of the bigger pushes and overall diameter and bigger lug width and all that stuff. Lug to lug, sorry. That wears bigger. This wears a lot smaller. Now, so the weight is nice at below 150 grams. You can wear it all day long, super comfortable, have no problems in that regard. The actual appearance of the watch and the dial is, I would say, 8 out of 10. They've done a really good job capturing the 1970s retro vibes. I'm not going to mention the names. There's 2 watches that this other YouTubers have done it. There's 2 watches that this is basically homaging, 2 luxury brands. I won't go into them. They've done a really good job of the homage because people don't know which one it is. But there's 2 there's one that's pretty close, and there's another one that I think is pretty close on the dial as well. So they've done a really good job. The case style is actually it's called a tonneau, which is a barrel case style. It works really nice with the dial and the tachymeter. Everything is in proportion and pretty well lined up. The finishing overall is excellent for the price point, for what I'm paid for it, which is basically very small. I really like the way they've done the bezel. It's kept it simple. It's stainless steel, highly polished. This contrasts significantly with the highly coursed, don't know if you can see that, but the polishing, the radial polishing is very coarse on the case, so you can see the lines. Now they've done this obviously for effect to contrast with the bezel, which is like almost mirror finished. And it does work pretty well together. I picked it up in the blue. There's loads of different colours. I really like this blue and silver with the orange on the subdial. I really like this combination. I'm pretty moderately conservative when it comes to watch colours. On my G-Shocks I do wear occasionally red and green as a total watch colour, but on the stainless steel ones I am a little bit more conservative, as opposed to having red and stuff as the dial. All the functionality works, so I'll just set off the chronograph. We'll stop it, reset it. Yeah, it is lining up. I think it might be ever so slightly out, but it is on many watches. So I wouldn't call that a biggie, really. Now, one issue with using a domed sapphire is the reflections, and I don't think they have used much anti-reflective coating. And as you can see, the watch is pretty reflective, so that is a small downside to the legibility. However, the white they've used on these hands is super legible. It's really easy to see the hour and minute hand. It's not as easy to see the indices, but that's the style that they've gone with. Obviously, you know, we can talk about functionality and all that. No one's going to be using the tachymeter and all that. These watches are basically jewellery, let's be honest. So, but I'm just pointing this out. I do use watches to tell the time still though, occasionally. Now, I do like them pretty legible. And at least the hour and minute hands, and these are super legible on this watch. Now, the crown, which is signed, does feel pretty good. There's good engagement there. Nice smooth action. No issues there really. Because as I've said before, the watch is powered by a VK63 Mecha Quartz movement. I try and be as honest as possible, and I will tell you the truth that on a lot of these cheaper homage brands off, you know, AliExpress, I've never been a big fan of the cheaper autos that come with them, like the NH35s, NH36, because ultimately, after you've worn them for a few months on many of the ones that I've had, they become highly inaccurate, losing minutes. At least with a quartz, I know I'm going to get very decent accuracy. And with this, for the main driver of the watch, you are getting extremely high accuracy, which is what I really like. I'm just not a fan of, because I wear watches in rotation, I'm not a fan of constantly having to set the time all the time, which is what I'd have to do on some of these cheaper automatics. But when they put a Mecha Quartz in there, I know I'm getting really good accuracy. So that is why I'm a big fan of these VK63, VK64 movements that are now popular on AliExpress. The case back is a standard non-exhibition window stainless steel case back essentially. It's got some nice laser etching on it, nothing to write home about there, pretty plain, but again, at the price I'm paying, that's acceptable for this type of watch. Now we can get on to the meat and potato, which is my favourite part of the watch really, or the second favourite part, and that is the bracelet and clasp. And I can confirm it's like a 19 and a bit, call it 20 mil at the lugs, tapering down to about 18 at the clasp. Super comfortable oval 3-link style bracelet with polished outers and brushed inners, if you will. Well, the flanks are polished. The bracelet is all brushed, apart from the flanks. Standard push pin design, but you do get a half link, which is unusual because you don't on a lot of these butterfly clasps. Now, the butterfly clasp does have, I wouldn't call it a design flaw, but in my opinion, I've been wearing this watch now for quite a past few weeks, and basically, occasionally it will release without my engagement. Now, just doing that wouldn't suggest that it releases too easily. But when it's on my wrist, and I'm going to whack it on my wrist in a second, I think it occasionally does release too quickly. That's the problem with many butterfly clasps. They release too easily. But it's not a deal breaker for me, because it's only done it about 3 or 4 times, which is still higher than, you know, if I've got a standard flip lock clasp, it'll basically never release on its own. But these butterflies, they can do. But it is super comfortable on the wrist. It looks fantastic. Nothing on the bracelet in any way digs in, and I wear it really low down the wrist because that's the way I'm like, and it's super comfortable. Even doing that does not cause any aggravation. There's nothing on the case. The case has curved lugs. It's all nice and comfortable, which is a main thing, because you're not going to wear the watch if it's not comfortable. It's a beautiful bracelet, there's no question about it. It's really comfortable, which is the main thing. Yeah, the tolerances might not be absolutely perfect, but it's got loads of articulation. The clasp is okay. It gives away a little bit too much, but it's symmetrical, so you don't have to put one side in. You can put any side in any sequence you want. And as I said, it is super, super comfortable. They should do, though, in my opinion, they should give you an extra link. It should have one more link, because I've got 7¼ inch wrists, and basically I can't adjust this. If I made this smaller, it would be too tight. I like it pretty loose. But it looks absolutely stunning on the wrist. And I'll put some shots up in the sun that I took today. There's no question about it. That dial is a stunner. And having it framed with that beautiful polished ring of a bezel, it's a stunner. With the pushers that are also highly polished. But very interesting looks, capturing that retro 70s vibe, very, very good, as Pagani are so good at doing. The finishing overall is very good for the price point. I've no qualms really about the finishing. And the comfort is 9 out of 10. So the comfort is super, super comfortable. Let's get a loom shot. Now, I know it's not perfect, but you can see the hands are pretty nicely loomed as we expected. They're partially loomed, and the indices are very, very mildly loomed. Obviously, I would like to have seen more loom on them, but I think the only way they could have done that was making them thicker. But that was a design choice not to do that, not to make the indices thicker. So they've gone with super thin indices, and that obviously has a side effect of having poor loom. But the hands are okay loomed. So I think you will be able to tell the time at night, if providing you've been out in the sun all day. So overall, how do I rate this thing? The looks are really pleasant and quite unusual. They captured the 70s vibe very good. It's a mecha quartz movement, which I love. The finishing is really nice. And the comfort is outstanding. It's super compact and very small lug to lug and end link to end link values. So it's super wearable, and the vast majority of people that wear this thing will think, wow, this is a really nice comfort weekend watch. I think this is like a perfect kind of weekend chilled out vibe watch. It's another good attempt by Pagani, one of my favourite Chinese watch brands. And they have gone on the more, I'll let you decide whether you consider it a homage or original. I'm definitely that this is a homage, absolute definitely. I don't care what anyone says it's a homage, but I'll let you decide that. It's been Dave. Thanks for checking my review out. Cheers.